All right, today I'm going to get technical. I don't normally get technical. I try not to. I try to make these videos to be just basic so that lots of people can understand it, so it all makes sense to everybody. But I got to get a little technical today. I think at the end of it, it will make sense. In this country, in Canada, in the mortgage business, we have something called a stress test. So a stress test is a concept by which we would take the normal situation of a person's mortgage and say we want to test it against a higher rate. This is called the qualification rate. So in other words, if the rate that we could get you is 6.4, we must qualify you 2% higher at 8.4. This is called the stress test. So that if rates do go up, which they sure as hell did, sure as hell have for the last couple of years, well, 20 months now almost. So we've got to stress test you at this higher rate to make sure you could qualify at a higher rate to ensure that if things got way up, which of course they did, that you could afford the mortgage payment. This means it's just harder and harder to qualify. To qualify at a rate like 8.4, sweet Jiminy Crickets. I mean, you would need to be making a couple of $100,000 a year for the average big mortgage, okay? Like maybe 300. So it just becomes harder and harder to qualify. Now, that's the explanation of the stress test. That part's pretty straightforward. I think people can follow that. We're going to use a rate that's higher to make sure you can qualify for the mortgage, and that probably means to get a big mortgage, you need to have a big income, bigger than almost anybody has as an income. Now, let's talk about the next part of this, which is renewals. Now, let's talk about a mortgage renewal. A mortgage renewal is not like buying a house. It's not like getting money out of your house. It's not like an equity takeout. It's not like refinancing to pay off debts and increasing your mortgage. It's none of those things. None, okay? A mortgage renewal is just, I have this rate that my bank is offering me because I got my mortgage 5 years ago. It's now up. It's time for renewal. Technically, it's called a maturity date, but it's time for renewal. And my bank is offering me these set of rates. Holy shit, they seem pretty goddamn high. So I don't like it. So I think I should shop around. Check with other banks, check with mortgage brokers, check with credit unions, check around so I can get a better deal on my mortgage renewal rate. Hey, will the stress test prevent you from doing that? The answer is probably yes. Not every case, thank God, but in way too many cases, the fact that the rates are much higher than when we started 5 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever you got your mortgage, and the stress test on top of that, let's say, once again, you're offered 6.4, you got to qualify at 8.4. When you go shopping to the other banks, the other credit unions, through the mortgage brokers, when you want to see if you can get a better deal than your bank's offer on renewal, you got to apply that stress test, and sometimes you won't qualify. You end up being stuck with your existing bank at whatever the hell rate they have to offer. Now, let me explain why that's no fucking good. That's wrong, okay? You are not looking for more money. You're not looking to buy a house. And here's the part that's most interesting. If you just sign the offer your bank is giving, they're not doing any stress tests. They're not doing nothing. They're not even asking you if you're still employed. As long as you've made your payments on time, as long as your property tax is up to date, as long as you've got house insurance, you just sign. You got your renewal. We're not checking on anything. We're not checking anything. Here, sign. That's the way it works in Canada. Now let's think about that for a minute. If you want to shop, you've actually got to prove your income. You've got to make sure everything's correct. They got to reassess your credit. If you got bad credit, you won't get any offer on your renewal from another bank. So you've got to be pretty damn good already, and they're going to check thoroughly to make sure you qualify, except you're screwed by this extra 2%. So, hey, that's not right. That's dumb. That doesn't make sense. No matter what all you people who want to send in emails, no, I think that's the way it should be. I think that, you should be stress testing everything. Stress test the car loan. Like, stop it. Just stop it, okay? Don't need to do that. The right approach is no stress test on renewals. Hey, Krista Freeland, I know you're busy doing some shit. I don't know. Nobody knows anymore. But you're busy, but listen. And Peter Rutledge, who runs the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions, who is the bank regulator. Hey, Peter, hi. It's your friend Ron. Nah, you don't know who the hell I am. I know that. But listen, this doesn't make any sense. Stress test on renewals don't make sense. Oh, hi, Tiff Macklin. Oh, hi, Ron. I hate you. Okay, but yeah, Tiff Macklin, all the rest of you, everybody who's in charge of this, stress test on renewals don't make sense. It makes sense to let people shop. They're going to be completely re-underwritten. We're going to check on their incomes. We're going to check their credit. There's no need to have a stress test if there's no increase in the mortgage. They're not buying anything. You don't need to stress test them because you don't stress test them if they stay with their bank. So you're giving their bank an unfair advantage. You're giving the incumbent lender, the bank has got their mortgage now, an unfair advantage and a little bit dangerous because maybe the bank knows they won't qualify and it's going to be a little higher rate offer than maybe it should have been. So, hey, Government of Canada, listen. No more stress test on renewals. Stress test everything else. Fine. Happy with it. Stress test refinance. Stress test everything else. Purchase. You name it. Keep stress testing. All good. Not on renewals. On renewals, stop it. Government of Canada, stop the stress test on renewals.